News reports state that only 303 individuals have formally applied to participate as victims in the case involving former President Rodrigo Duterte before the International Criminal Court. The ICC registry itself described the number as limited when compared with a potential pool of victims. That immediately raises two legal questions: fair, legitimate, and unavoidable. Does 303 complainants constitute crimes against humanity? Enough na ba yan to build a case? From a purely doctrinal standpoint, under the Rome Statute, the answer is yes, in theory. Statute does not require a minimum number of victims. Crimes against humanity are defined by widespread or systematic attacks against civilians carried out pursuant to a state or organizational policy. The law focuses on pattern and policy, not raw arithmetic. But that is only one half of the legal story, because while numbers are not a jurisdictional requirement, they are not legally irrelevant either, especially when the case moves from theory to proof beyond reasonable doubt. This is where the defense perspective becomes unavoidable. Hindi ito tulad sa Pilipinas na complainant versus accused. Tama. This is prosecution versus the accused. But even in that structure, the strength of evidence matters, and scale is not just symbolic, it is evidentiary. For crimes against humanity, the prosecution must prove that the attack was truly widespread or systematic, that it was directed against civilians as civilians, that it was linked to a state policy, not isolated criminal acts. And here, the defense will argue this: if the alleged crimes were truly widespread on a national scale, if the policy was as uniform and systemic as claimed, why, after years of investigation, global publicity, NGO involvement, and international attention, only 303 individuals stepped forward to participate? This is not victim blaming. This is evidentiary scrutiny. The defense will say low participation does not negate jurisdiction, but it casts doubt on scale. It challenges the claim that the acts were nationwide, systematic, and policy-driven rather than fragmented, localized, or attributable to individual law enforcement excesses. Crimes against humanity are meant to address atrocities of a magnitude that shook the conscience of humanity. And while the Rome Statute does not impose a numerical threshold, courts still assess credibility, representativeness, and proportionality of evidence. Sa dulo, hindi sapat ang sabihing pwede sa batas. The real question is, kaya bang patunayan lampas sa alinlangan ang lawak at sistema ng krimen? From the defense standpoint, the figure of 303 is not dispositive, but it is telling. It is a fact that invites skepticism, not dismissal. And in international criminal law, skepticism favors the accused. Because when liberty, legacy, and sovereign leadership are on trial, the standard is not political outrage, it is proof. And under that standard, the defense will insist, if the case rests on limited participation to prove a claim of massive systemic criminality, then the burden on the prosecution is not just heavy, it is exacting by design. This is not impunity, this is due process. Another day, another regal POV.